My name is Tommy Springfield.
And I'm better than you!
If you're new here, click that like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, click all so you can get notifications every time I do one of these videos. And today, I'm doing something a little different. I'm going down a different rabbit hole. I'm going down a different street. You know, as a YouTuber, you search and you do all type of things to find your niche, to find where you fit in this world of many, many, many videos. So this popped up on my screen and I decided to go down this rabbit hole. I'm gonna bring you unsolved murders in my city, around my state, and maybe you YouTuber detectives out there can pick it up and you can solve the case and you can bring a family some closure. I haven't gained your respect yet. You don't know me, so I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna get straight into today's first video.
It's a case that's gone unsolved in Springfield for 19 years this summer. And tonight, the father of 15-year-old Tammy Lins asks 22 News for help.
He spoke exclusively with 22 News 19 reporter Laura Hutchinson, and tonight she tells his story.
Tammy Marie Lins' remains were found.
I'm sorry. I'm 420 friendly over here. If you don't like that, I don't mean to offend you, and I'm sorry. But hopefully you could overlook that, and it's about the message.
In 1994, and according to her father, she never got the media attention other similar cases got, and her killer was never found. Now the district attorney is giving this case a second look and will tell her story with hopes someone knows something.
Today at 12 a.m., I did something I would have not done without a dare.
It's the last diary entry 15-year-old Tammy Lins would ever write, and one her father would read over and over again.
And he dared me to come over his house at night, which means I had to sneak out of the house and go over his house and sneak in his room. I said, okay.
Richard Lins is haunted by the words written 19 years ago, wondering if his daughter's killer will ever be found.
Nobody's talking.
Do you believe that somebody knows something?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Now he's telling his story to 22 News, hoping to solve his daughter's case that's been cold for decades. Tammy Marie Lins disappeared in July of 1994 after sneaking out of her Springfield home. She told her younger sister Allison about her plans, but asked it be kept secret, something Allison still struggles with today.
Back then, I'd gotten my parents. The whole pinky swear between my sister and I didn't want to break that and get her into trouble.
Somewhere over in this area here is where she was found.
Her remains were found 4 months later in a wooded area not far from her house.
So real quick, the girl left out late after her parents were asleep back in 1994. The Boston Road, Grayson Drive, Fox Road area, you know. In her diary, it says she had slipped out a week before and was accosted by males at the bars. Back then, there were bars, Bonnie and Clyde, and Maddie's Lounge, a few other bars. So all in that area, you know. This is a dangerous game. I'm not out to hurt nobody. I'm not out to offend anyone. But if you remember this incident, you know something about this incident. This happened in 1994. This family needs closure.
They laid Tammy to rest, but their fight for answers was only just starting.
It's been a year and a half, okay? And there's nothing being done, it seems like, by the police.
The last 2 decades, Lins has been investigating for himself.
This is, one of the 2 directions that she could have gone.
Now the case is getting a second look from Hampden County District Attorney Mark Mastriani, who has a team of investigators who are retesting evidence using modern-day technology.
The examination of this is intense. The scrutiny to the case now and the evidence is intense, and that's what the unsolved unit that I have now is designed to do.
Lynn says for some time he was considered a suspect, although he denies having anything to do with the disappearance and insists detectives keep trying.
We need people to start talking. There's no talking.
While it won't bring back his 15-year-old daughter, it will bring him and his family some peace and closure.
A lot of memories. You know, it was 15 years.
So, as you just heard, at one point, he was a suspect. At another point, her friends were suspects. And I found a little blog website, not little, because I respect everybody as a YouTuber, and they give a little bit more insight on what was going on in that time, and we'll get to that, but let's finish the video.
With her.
My sister was my best friend, and to not have her, it's like you get a piece of you that's gone and you can't get it back.
Could you imagine the guilt and how she must feel and how she's been living her life, that she was the last one to talk to her sister, and she was keeping a secret, not telling her parents that she was sneaking out, and she never seen her again. Wow.
It has been an unsolved case for a long time, and as you can see, this family wants closure. If you know anything about it, the DA's office is asking you to get in touch with them. Their contact information is on our website, WWLP.com. I'm Laura Hutchinson, working for you with the 22 News I-Team.
It's a case that's
Excuse me, you know, sometimes the marijuana does that to you if you're smoking the good shit. So, this was the website I found. I'm a little blind, so I gotta blow it up. But Hell's Acres. So, the 1994 Fox Road murder mystery. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I just wanted to get to a part, and I was there, but so at midnight, Tammy Marie Lynns informed her 10-year-old sister that she was going out and that she would be back at 3 a.m. As she made her way to the front door, she nudged her father, who had nodded off in the living room chair while watching television. She told me to get to bed, he remembered her saying. As he roused himself and headed to his bedroom, the 15-year-old girl went out the front door, left it open, slipped out the side gate of their yard to avoid tripping the motion sensor attached to the spotlights and vanished into the night, never to return. It was evening of July 21st, 1994, when Allison last saw her sister alive. She looked out the window, watched Tammy quietly unlock their fence gate, and wished she could have said more to convince her not to go out. Tammy was supposed to meet a friend, possibly a boyfriend, but he told her sister she was not looking forward to this rendezvous. Tammy was reported missing the next day, and police classified her as a runaway. Typically, when young children go missing, the cases are immediately treated as possible abductions and homicides, but not so when teenagers. Springfield police receive as many as 20 reports of missing youths every summer in the early and mid-1990s, and most teens return home within 3 days. However, Tammy hadn't taken anything with her, and she inexplicably didn't come home. If I read that wrong, I'm sorry. She had left to open the door and reassurances her sister that she'd return. Her father, Richard Lynns, feared the worst. Searching the woods near his family homes, combing the areas of Grayson Drive and Boston Road, he talked to Tammy's friends. There were rumors that she was alive and possibly out of state, maybe in Florida, but no substantial leads, just talk. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and the Lynns' lives were turned upside down. On November 4th, 1994, David Schmidt and his 8-year-old son were riding bikes in the woods off Fox Road in the late morning when he spied a hubcap that he thought he could use. Then in the bush near a stream, he saw what appeared to be red sneakers attached to sticks. Upon close inspection, he discovered a skeleton partially covered with rags that were once jeans, and for a split second, he thought it was a fake skeleton left over from Halloween. A better look soon convinced him otherwise. Police searched the area for clues. A week later, a comparison of dental records confirmed the body was Tammy's. At the time, the medical examiner had yet to come up with all the answers, but considered it not to be a homicide. According to Springfield Union News article on November 14, 1994, an anthropologist, anthropological exam of her remains had not revealed the cause of death. It is also included that the fact that an entry in her diary said she snuck out the house around midnight a week before. She died to meet a boy who lived east of Lamont Street along Boston Road. She had also written that she had been accosted by bar patrons on Boston Road as she walked east on that road. Which bars? John Doe's, Bonnie and Clyde's, or the Sports Pub Page, or Maddie's, both on the other north side of the road. The story doesn't say. The word accosted used by the newspaper reporter didn't specify what made her feel uncomfortable. So basically, if you're from Springfield, you know those bars. And they didn't say what bar, but they're claiming that's what her diary said. I just thought that was interesting. Figured I'll read it. And this one right here, this is another page from that diary. From that same story. And it just goes over that there was a lot of perverts back then in that area. It says, looking back nearly 30 years later, there's also the very real possibility that she was killed by some local dirtbag who happened upon her walking on a quiet street in the wee hours. After all, she was found 10 feet from the side of a road, not in the middle of deep woods. Thursday was payday in a big bar night, and some creep might have found this opportunity too hard to pass up. Let's be frank, perverts around in the area around Fox Road where she was found, in the neighborhoods off Gratian Drive, North Branch Parkway, and North Brook Road. There have been numerous incidents of sex crimes there over the years. A Hell's Acres reader from Lamont Street, Tammy Street, informed me that his parents told him that at least 3 child molesters lived on our street, that we could only ride our bikes back and forth to our neighbor's mailbox so our parents could always see us. Another reader from Gilbert Ave told me that a father on Lamont Street had molested 2 of his stepchildren over a period of time, and his wife's solution to the problem was simply to send them to summer camp. The reader also recalls that the word on the street for years were 2 fathers who lived on Gilbert Ave were molesting their children. At the one Boston Road end of Gilbert and the other near the intersection of Gilbert and Stevenson Street. The latter had been a seedy reputation that a neighbor who lived near one of them used to watch the neighborhood children like a hawk when they played near his house. The fact that Tammy was friends with the children of the Lamont Street father as well as one of the Gilbert Street molester kids is not lost on the Hell's Acres readers, because Tammy was over their houses often. Yes, I know the address of these men. No, I'm not going to include them in this post, especially because they have never been convicted of anything. However, there are others in the area that are well acquainted with our justice system. On Sparrow Drive, there were 2 brothers convicted of sex crime. One in 204 for aggravated rape and armed kidnapping and gun charges a year earlier, and his brother in 2013 for possession of child pornography. In 1977, a 17-year-old youth who lived at the intersection of Jennings and Methuen Street, a corner on Gates Drive, right opposite Fox Road. Surprise, 2 boys in the North Branch tried Victory Park Woods across Grayson Drive from the Fox Road Woods and raped a 5-year-old child. I know the brother of the kid who was able to get away. In 1994, this guy, by then a middle-aged man, would have had a clear view from his house of Tammy walking down Fox Road and could have swiftly walked or jogged up to her. In 1992, a 33-year-old man who lived on Lloyd Ave sexually assaulted a 10-year-old girl, but he got probation and was ordered to undergo counseling after he, don't know that word, explained that he had a drinking problem. A Fargo Street man was convicted of assault with intent to commit rape in 1981 after he grabbed a woman and pulled her into an alley in downtown Springfield. He also lived in the Springfield area and had been arrested for multiple crimes as recently as 2022. Moss Road, on the other side of Mary Lynch School from the Fox Road Woods, has been home to several predators. One was in prison for kidnapping and raping his daughter repeatedly in the early 1980s and impregnating her. He claimed that since his daughter was promiscuous, the fetus probably wasn't his. There was those who have read the memoir by a woman who grew up on Moss Road knows the harrowing sexual abuse she endured from her stepfather during the age 7 to 17. And this is a book by someone from Springfield, Mass. So if y'all want to go look that book up, you can read it. It's memoir by a woman who grew up on Moss Road. Those men, in addition to accounts of sexual deviant flashers and public masturbators in the reader comments after my first post on Tammy, include the Lucian Road guy who was convicted of several sex crimes, such as trying to rape a jogger in 1980 at the corner of North Branch and Sunrise Terrace. As we learned from the victim's disturbing story, she wrote to Hellseeker he was unsuccessful in his attempt to drag her into Putnam's Puddle Woods, but this man was likely locked up at the time of Tammy's murder. He had been sentenced to 20 years in state prison for that attempted rape and another rape. However, another notorious rapist made headlines and terrorized the neighborhood in 1992, prompting women and girls to walk only in groups and young men to cruise around the neighborhood with baseball bats in their cars looking for the underwear on the head guy, which was said to be his MO, in order to hide his identity when he attacked teen girls and young women in the woods at the end of Moss Road and Finch Road. I remember driving around the streets near my house with a carload of guys just trying to see if we could catch the perp ourselves, said a guy from Pigeon Drive. Little did we know he lived right down the street. I had a police scanner and a shopping carriage handle. Very heavy, by the way. And my friends and I had sisters, so we were both scared and motivated to help find the rapist. At first, he said it was whispered that the underwear rapist was one of the aforementioned brothers from Spiro Drive or possibly someone from Sterling Drive, but his face was always disturbed, making the identity impossible. The underwear rapist hit the area hard in the fall of 1982. In September of that year, a 26-year-old woman was pulled into Fox Road Woods, raped, robbed by a man wearing what was described as possibly a white ski mask. In October, a 13-year-old girl was dragged into the woods off Riverton Road across the street from Breckwood Pond and raped. Residents was worried because Halloween was coming up when trick-or-treaters would be out at night. So a community meeting was held at the Mary Lynch School. There was concerns that neighborhood youths might suspect the wrong person of being a rapist and would injure him. In fact, in one incident, a teen had been bothering 2 young girls near the Mary Lynch School, and by the time police showed up, he was surrounded by 20 guys, one with a shotgun. The kid deserved to be arrested, but he wasn't the one we were looking for, said a detective at the time. Then on October 29, 1982, a 19-year-old man from Pigeon Drive was arrested for the rape and assault shortly after he raped and robbed a 17-year-old woman in the woods off Branch Road. It turned out that the underwear or ski mask covering his face was a large white hockey sock with eye holes cut out. He was on the Putnam High hockey. Putnam, he was on the Putnam High School hockey team. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts of forcible rape of a child, 3 counts of aggravated rape, and a single count of rape, assault and battery, assault with a dangerous weapon, and a threat to murder. In 1983, he was sentenced to 8 to 10 years in prison. In his case, the apple didn't fall from the tree. His father was also convicted of statutory rape of a 15-year-old girl, along with molesting an 8-year-old girl. His granddaughter, in early 1982, he was sentenced to 12 to 14 years. So he wasn't out on the streets in 1984. Again, the possibility that Tammy was attacked by a stranger or a middle-aged neighbor is departure from investigators' first suspicions. For years, the theory persists that one of the teen boys in her life was possibly responsible. After all, she went out to meet someone at night. It was soon discovered that Tammy and her friends were playing a Bowdry variation of the old school girl chatterbox or fortune-telling folded paper game in which a handful of boys' names were written on the origami paper creation. Each player had to fool around with whoever's name came up. Maybe because of the game, Tammy was put in a situation she didn't want to be in. So, this pulls a scenario in which possibly one of the boys Tammy was seeing had found out about her boyfriends or the game and exploded in a jealous rage. That's not far-fetched. Or maybe he found out about her pregnancy. Since my last post, I've talked with yet other people who told me Tammy revealed to her friend that she was pregnant. But, I'm not going to keep reading on that. If y'all want to get into that, that's over there, the Hell's Acres page. You can go look it up and get into the murder mystery. But my whole goal is, once again, what happened.
Unsolved in Springfield for 19 years this summer. And tonight, the father of 15-year-old Tammy Lins asks 22 News for help.
He spoke exclusively with 22 News 19 reporter Laura Hutchinson, and tonight she tells his story.
Tammy Marie Lins' remains were found in 1994, and according to...
Now remember, in the stories we just wrote, allegedly she told her sister she was leaving. It tapped her dad on the shoulder and said, "Go to sleep." And he went to the bed and she left. I don't know. Not accusing nobody, but remember, he was a suspect in the beginning.
Poor father, she never got the media attention.
Because if my 15-year-old daughter tell me to go to bed, I'm going to say to her, "Why your ass ain't in bed?" I'm not going to just get up and go to bed and she's just going to walk out.
Other similar cases got, and her killer was never found. Now the district attorney is giving this case a second look and will tell her story with hopes someone knows something.
Today at 12 a.m., I did something I would have not done without a dare.
It's the last diary entry 15-year-old Tammy Lins would ever write, and one her father would read over and over again.
And he dared me to come over his house at night, which means I had to sneak out of the house and go over his house and sneak in his room. I said, okay.
Richard Lins.
Now remember, this is a diary that the father released. I don't have any information. I didn't deep dive. Maybe I should have to verify if it was her handwriting. And remember, he was a suspect.
Is haunted by the words written 19 years ago, wondering if his daughter's killer will ever be found.
Nobody's talking.
Do you believe that somebody knows something?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Now he's telling his story to 22 News, hoping to solve his daughter's case.
But, like I said, I already played the video in the beginning. I'm not going to play it again. People are not going to watch my video this long. I'm new here. But, like I said, 1994, someone knows something. Someone heard something. Someone told someone something. And if you happen to see this video, hey, man, get that family closure. And if the father did it, hopefully he get caught. But I'm not saying he did it. This is what these bloggers are saying. This is what he said out of his own mouth in this interview. He was a suspect at one point. But like I always say, If you like what I'm doing, click the like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, click all so you can get notifications every time I drop one of these videos. And if you're a supporter of the channel, much love and respect goes out to you, and you, and you, and I salute. And if you're one of these haters out here, cut the shit.